Welcome back. We're not doing any cooking today, but we're here on the land in Osawatomie, Kansas. I'm Oliver Tanner, and this is still Tanner Style. So today, I thought that we would begin with kind of a little walking tour of our land and kind of some of the things that we've done. I don't think that we've ever really taken everybody quite all around our property, looked at everything that we got going on. So we're gonna kind of walk the perimeter, have a look. It's been raining the past couple days, so everything's kind of wet. We're here to get some work done today, do some building, cutting, all kinds of things, and then after we do a little tour, then we're gonna go and we're gonna start a little fire. Yeah, let's have a look around. As you can see right here, we've got the corner of our property. Then come down here, and we used to have a big dead tree coming up right around here, and you can kind of see down there where it was. You can see all that dead wood. That tree came down in a windstorm that we had. I mean, all it took was a good gust of wind and the whole thing came toppling down, and we've cut that up. That's actually where we got like our seats around the fire from, was from that tree. Been burning a lot of that tree as well. It's interesting because growing right next to it, it was kind of beat down, was this this mulberry tree. And so this mulberry tree hopefully now will have a little bit more room that it can grow and flourish, and I don't know, I want to see if we can get some mulberries off of it. I'm kind of excited to see what happens with that. Coming down here, we got a number of trees out here. Most of these trees, we got this big old sucker here. So this one, along with most of our trees, are elms. We want to build a house eventually, so we're actually hoping to be able to build that this year. We are going to be talking to some people. We've actually got a few things in the works right now, trying to figure out how we can get our home built. Because, every time that we have to drive down here to Osawatomie to shoot a video, it's an hour drive down, it's an hour drive back home. And, with gas rising, everything else, it would really be so much better if we could just, live here. And, it's really not realistic. It would... There's a lot of things working against us trying to find a place just to rent down here, or buying a house down here until we can build whatever we want. Anyway, let's continue with the tour. So we got this here tree. So that shed, that's our neighbor's. And those two trees. And if you look, you can see there is a lot of like bark hanging off, lots of bare spots. These trees are largely, there's a lot of dead spots. And, I was just talking about how we want to build on this land. Well, when we actually do get around to building on this land, all of these trees are going to have to come down. I want to try to spare the mulberry tree if we can. So we want to try to get as much use out of these trees as we can. I don't know if it's all going to be usable or what we can get out of there. I don't want to just get a bunch of firewood. Firewood is cool, but I'd like to get some better use out of all this wood on our land, especially with how expensive wood is. Now, I know different woods are good for different things. I don't really know a whole lot about that. Just kind of what I've looked up on the internet and whatnot. And what I've seen is that elm is generally good for furniture, for inside. And so, like that really big elm that we just looked at, I would like to be able to mill down into usable boards and whatnot. I think I'd like to actually get into trying to make some of our own furniture. I think that'd be a cool project, good learning experience, and think it'd make the whole thing a lot more special. So I'd like to really use some of this wood as much as we can. The mill that we bought, it's just a chainsaw mill, and so I don't know, I've never used one of those. We're gonna see how well it works. So now we're here at another corner, bottom corner of the land. So down here on the south end of the land, we got this canal, goes all the way down. You can see we've got some pallets that we've picked up, and you know, we've been using these pallets for different projects. Some of them we've been picking apart and using the wood, because wood is, as I'm sure you know, wood is expensive right now. The pallets, we can pick up pallets for free from a lot of different places, and free is exactly my price range. And so we're actually going to see some of how we've been using some of that pallet wood a little bit later. Up here, you can see, so we got a levee and a big causeway up here. Back in the day, Osawatomie did not have these levees, and some, I don't know, 15, maybe 20 years ago, but there was a big flood here in Osawatomie, and it did a lot of damage. Actually, the land that we are on had a house on it, and that house was destroyed by the flood. And this land has sat vacant ever since. Well, after that flood, they went ahead and they put in the canals, they put in the levees, and so the whole area is protected from floods now. But in the past, this was all a pretty serious floodplain, and it was a problem. Anyway, that's the deal with that. And on top of that levee, there's a trail. It's, I guess, a big deal. And this trail, a lot of people hike it every year, and it begins here in Osawatomie. So I'm going to actually figure out the name of that trail. I'll put that down in the description, what that trail is and where you can maybe follow a link to learn more about it. So down here by all of our pallets, we got another mulberry tree back here, and this one seems a bit bigger, a little bit more healthy. Hopefully we'll get some fruit off of that this year, and more elms. And then we come around here, southern perimeter, more elms, more dead elms. And you know, one of the things that we find around here, I was not expecting in Kansas, but then again, I didn't really have a lot of expectations for Kansas. Most of my impression of Kansas came from watching The Wizard of Oz and The Grapes of Wrath. Maybe not the two best or most accurate sources of information on Kansas. So one thing I wasn't expecting was how many vines there are growing all over everything. Really, I wasn't expecting everything to be growing everywhere as much as it is here, because everything grows. And we can really see that on this tree right here. I mean, we just have a ton of vines growing all over this tree, and a lot of the trees around here are like that. So this tree right here is also on our property. This tree, I believe, is not an elm. I believe this tree is a pin oak. We do have a couple of pin oaks on our land as well, and pin oaks are in the red oak family of trees, and so we're going to try to see what we can use that lumber for. I've heard that it's not necessarily as strong as some other types of oak, but hopefully it'll still be strong enough to use in some ways in our home. And you know, we're going to get creative. We're going to try milling as much of it as we can, see what we can do with it. Now we're down, you probably saw in one of the other shots, we got a shed here. Now this shed here we bought, I mean, it was a lot for us, and all it took was one storm, the whole thing collapsed. I mean, completely fell apart, shattered. You can see we've already kind of put it back together a little bit. You can see right there, the front is just, I mean, it just shattered right there. And so with all these storms coming, we tried putting a tarp over the top of it. Obviously, that didn't work out quite exactly as we wanted it to. And you can kind of see in here how we've been using some of that pallet material. You know, we basically been trying to frame up the inside of this shed. We put a couple pallets together as a foundation, put some concrete blocks under there. So, you know, we've actually we tried to use as much free material as we could, salvage material, all that kind of stuff. All of the concrete blocks that we use for the foundation, the concrete blocks that we use for the steps to the shed, the pallets, all of that was free, picked up from Facebook Marketplace, from different people who had stuff that they just wanted to get rid of. So if you're in need of something for a project, for your home, for your land, for whatever, dude, seriously, check out Facebook Marketplace, check out Craigslist, check out whatever is available to you in your area. We did buy a sheet of plywood. You can kind of see under there that we put in just to strengthen the floor so we're not standing directly on boards, help disperse the load of anything we put in our shed. Gonna get this shed finished before we go home today. Anyway, we are down at the next corner to our land. So our other corner was right about, let's see, where is it? Right there, I believe. And then here is the next corner down here. From here, we can actually look down. The property line goes pretty much like straight down that way. We actually had a surveyor come out and plot out our property lines, especially because I don't know, Osawatomie's got a crazy history apparently, and there's a crazy history of people just kind of doing whatever, and property lines kind of got muddled up, mixed up for a long time. So we really needed to have somebody actually come out and plot out our property lines so that we could make sure that we were using what land was ours, so that we even knew what land was ours to use. Yeah, we needed some really precise locations. The house that we're going to try to put on this land is something that I've designed myself, actually. We'll see how it works out. I have high hopes for it, and I really, really, really want to make it happen this year. So as we continue up, you know, we were just down there. There's that pin oak. Here's a tree right here. I'm not sure what kind of tree this one is right now. We got some flowers busting out of the ground over here. We're not quite sure what they are. I know Char is hoping that they're daffodils. Those are actually her favorite flower. You know, you can kind of see, here's our whole fire setup. You know, the storms kind of blew around some of the bits of cardboard that we had around the land, and we used some of that as kindling to get our fire started sometimes. And you see that stake right there? That's there for a reason. When we upgrade our fire pit, you're going to see exactly what that reason is. So here is our, another dead elm needs to come down. Right here is a big pin oak. This sucker is big, and I'm hoping that we can get some good lumber out of there. We got more pin oaks up there, and over here we're getting into, we have this huge bramble, this big tangle of just vines. I mean, look at the size of some of these sticks coming out of the ground. These are just vines. That's all it is. These vines are freaking insane. This pile, I mean, it was just grown, I don't know, what, 8-9 feet high. So we've already cut down a lot of it, dragged it over here. So, you know, because we're trying to get all the use we can out of all of this stuff, we are not just hauling it all off to throw it away. We are not just smashing it up, getting rid of it. We've actually got everybody working, and we're working hard, doing everything we can to try to process this down into smaller pieces so that then we can season them and use some of these different sized pieces as firewood. So, and we're gonna have a lot more of that really small stuff when we cut down the trees as well. There's there's branches, twigs, lots of little tiny bits, and we're gonna try and use every last bit that we can with those oaks. I'm gonna try and save some of those smaller branches, and we're gonna try and season them. And I don't know, maybe that'll be good for smoking. I'm not really sure how well pin oak works for smoking, but yeah, if you stick with us, you'll see that whole process happen. So that's it for a tour right now. I don't know, you want to say hi to everybody? Hi, everybody.
Hi. Hi.
So let's head over to the fire pit, and we'll have a look at how we build fires out here in our Tanner style kitchen. Okay, so we're over here, and if we have a look, so come in nice and close here. So you can see we've got some torn up cardboard right in the bottom. All this cardboard comes from the packaging for our shed. You know, we had it, so we may as well use it, right? And then we got, you can see I got a bunch of really teeny tiny twigs, and then we build up to some smaller twigs that are just a little bit more substantial. And you know, we're doing kind of a teepee style fire. This is how we do most of our fires around here. We build our fire before we light our fire, and so we're gonna now add on a little bit of some bigger sticks. The idea is the cardboard is going to burn easiest. That heat is going to rise. It's going to catch those little tiny twigs on fire pretty easily. They're going to continue to burn, and it should give just enough heat to get this next layer, slightly bigger sticks, to get these to burn. Okay, and then there will be a bigger layer of sticks that goes on top of these, and you know, so on and so forth, until we're going to have some pretty substantially sized pieces of wood on in the end. And when we're done with this, we're going to come back in just a minute. I'm going to continue building this up, and when we come back, then we're going to go ahead and we're going to light it, and we're going to try to see if we can light this with one match. That's the test. One match fire. Of course, we could try doing a bow and drill or any number of other survival types of fire starting things, but this isn't a bushcraft channel. We're just interested in getting the fire lit. Do whatever works for you. We, when we lived in Wyoming, for 4 years, and we would build a fire every morning from pretty much October till May, and because that's how long winter is, basically. Yeah, we've built a few fires in our time. This is the method that we use. We usually use a teepee type method. You can also use the log cabin method, or the throw everything in there, pour a bunch of gasoline on it, and just light the piece of crap. You can also use that method. Whatever method you want to use, please don't burn down your house, and please don't hurt anyone. That's all I have to say about it. Otherwise, I ain't your mother. All right, see you in a minute. Okay, we've got our fire built. Now it's time to light it. One match. Let's try it out. Oh. Come on, man. Did it go out? No. No. Oh, no. No, it's still going. Come on, fire, don't let me down. Burn, little fire. Should be healthy and happy. Okay, sometimes you might need 2 matches. See what? No, no. Man. Oh, ye of little faith. Oh, me of little faith. All right, so we got our fire started. 1 match, that's all it took. For a minute there, I doubted myself. I thought that I was going to need another match, but you can see, you know, the proof is in the pudding. If you build it and you build it smart as you go, you know, you want your most easily burnable stuff in the center, and then kind of growing up in difficulty to burn, you want to create that central focus of heat. Heat rises, the fire is going to burn everything on top of it, and those bigger stuff, it just needs more time to really get it burning well. So by doing those layers like that, then we create a fire that then just builds and grows on its own. That's how we build fires around here. Now you know our process. Comment down below, how do you start fires? And you know, I said earlier, douse it with gasoline, drown it with gasoline, and don't do that. I know people like Fail Army, and Fail Army is funny and all that, but that's just stupid. Don't do stupid things. Don't get hurt. That's really unsafe. And you can see that's not how we do things around here. Be smart about how you do things. Build your fire, build it intentionally, and then light it. That's the smart way to do it. And you don't need any kinds of extra fluids or flammable aids to get your fire going if you build it right. All right? Thanks for joining us for a little tour of our land, a little update of what we're doing out here, and just to see how we build a fire. If you could like our video, subscribe if you're new, or share the video, we would really appreciate it. We appreciate every one of you who has subscribed. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.